Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, welcome to the first ever Sleepless in Metropolis podcast. We may not be the number one podcast or even have more than a few viewers, but if you want to listen to three college guys talk about movies, comics, pop culture, and more, you are in the right place. My name is Joey, and my two co-hosts are Sam and Nick. Seeing it's the first ever podcast, let's do a little bit of a get to know. We'll start with Sam.
Oh, okay. I didn't know this was part of it. My name is Sam Molino. I go to Buffalo State College for electrical engineering. I work at the Wegmans grocery store, the prestige Wegmans grocery store. You know, essential worker and all that. So if you want to see me around, just go to Wegmans. I work all the time.
I'm not gonna lie, I forgot Sam was an electrical engineer.
It's okay.
Yeah,
I don't
why are
talk
you
about it very
doing
much.
none of the audio stuff at this point? Do something, Sam. Why aren't you helping us out?
What is that supposed to mean?
I'm just saying. Like Steve, our boy Steve, working at Home Depot. That saved my life. He bought me a dial caliper, and I'm using it for a project.
So
I'm
you
dead
working
serious.
at Home Depot is more important than my education.
Yes. Because you also never bring me bread from Wegmans. You did one time.
I've been eating it all myself. The garlic toasted
Dang.
bread.
Well,
Okay,
that
go ahead,
sums
Joe.
up you enough.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
You know, you're kind of forgetting what you do, though.
What do I do?
I don't know. You go to college.
I think
don't
you're
you?
supposed to answer that.
Oh, I see what you did there. Okay. Yeah, I'm Sug. That's it. I go to college at University of Buffalo. Good times. Mechanical engineering. Yeah.
Basic.
Okay.
Okay.
I think you left out your biggest part.
What?
You know, the fact
I'm
that you're
rich.
an ROTC.
Oh, shut up, Sam. Yeah, I am doing Army ROTC.
Imagine talking being your worst strong suits on a podcast.
That's a mood. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, go ahead, Joe.
Okay. Hello, I'm Joey. I also go to UB, but as an architect student.
Architects
Is that
are
what?
like civil engineers that don't want to do math, but like to draw.
Hey. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Hey, Sug, would you
We'll do more math. next
rank
year.
Steve's job higher than Joey's education?
What?
I don't know, because Joey uses his education, I feel like. He
What
draws
is
and
that
builds.
supposed to mean?
He draws and builds stuff. I haven't seen you ever do anything electrical in your life.
I'm
I guess
gonna
that's fair.
design like a gazebo.
Yes, Joey's gonna help me build a gazebo.
When you
You
when
can
you need lights, don't come crawling to me, okay?
I won't. I don't trust you. I've never seen you do anything with this.
You
That's
trust
fair enough.
Marty more.
I've just seen you break a bunch of gaming controllers.
Oh, we're not getting into that.
You know what? Today's goal
So
of
they
the
don't drift.
podcast is to do our MCU top 5 ranking. I
Yeah,
say
thought that
before we
was
get
to
there, we do a little comic book preference, like favorite superheroes, that kind of stuff.
Okay, I'm good with
Just
that.
a little icebreaker. Okay, Sam, what's your favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero? That's tough. I don't know. I've always had a weird thing for like not like the most popular superheroes. Like obviously like there's Spider-Man and Batman and Superman and all those guys.
Miss Marvel.
But don't even start with Kamala Khan. I swear to God. No, but I really had a thing for like the X-Men. Like I really like Professor X and Magneto. I think would be the two that come to mind for me. I like the not the combo but the synergy I guess that they have together. I think it's pretty cool.
You like him bald and crippled?
Hey, my dad's bald. So,
Wow.
So is mine.
Mine has a
Okay.
full head of hair. I feel like you chose the best comic book relationship, Sam. And that is true, because I feel like they're the best foils for each other, because, like, Magneto's not really evil most of the time. He's just, he just sees it a different way. Like, it's like they always say, they compare it to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, like they're both trying to solve a problem, but one's going more militant way about it. So that's kind of what they always represented. For me, I don't know. I haven't thought about this in a while. I was never a huge Superman guy, but then I actually started reading a lot of Superman stuff, and I was like, wow, Superman's pretty cool. Um,
I expect that one from you.
I do like after reading like All Star Superman and like Superman for All Seasons, like those two, those were like, oh, Superman's actually a really cool character. Because I was always of the mindset you can't do anything that interesting with him, because like he's going to win. He's Superman in most cases.
I guess.
But like the way they have to write those stories because they know how powerful he is, I kind of think it makes the writing stronger and kind of cooler. And he has good supporting characters.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought you would have been the quickest one to answer this and just gone Batman.
I do like some Batman. I do.
Isn't your senior quote a Batman quote?
Yes, it is. I forgot what it is. It's from Batman Black and White, but I forgot what the quote was. But I do like Batman, and I feel like he is the strongest and most consistent comics, especially like even New 52 Batman is still tolerable when the rest of the New 52 was kind of lacking. But like I like everything to do with the Bat family more. So like whenever it's Batman Incorporated, I'm way more invested because I like all the Robins
So,
and
who's your
Alfred
favorite
and
Robin?
stuff.
That was gonna be my question.
Ooh,
You know, why don't we just all say our favorite Robins? Take a little side departure.
Okay.
I think Nightwing's obviously the best.
Dick Grayson, I can respect
Yeah.
that.
My favorite is definitely Damian.
Really? Have you read
Don't
Super
like him.
Sons?
No, I just don't like him though.
It's a Super Sons kind of makes him better. I don't like him in Teen Titans though. It's weird. Um, my favorite Robin arc is definitely Jason Todd's, but I don't like Jason Todd as Robin. I like him as Red Hood.
Yeah,
So
Red
favorite Robin, I'd have to go Tim Drake. I like
was gonna say.
Red Robin, the detective stories. Those are sweet.
Yeah.
He also has a cool costume.
He does. Yeah.
Okay, Joe, did you want to say your favorite comic book superhero?
Sure. I'm not really sure what Suggs is still, but
Yeah, I
whatever.
think Superman is kind of set.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Superman for right now. It's
I don't
definitely
know,
gonna change.
It was funny when Suggs used to hate him though.
I
I
think it was more
didn't. It's
hating the idea of Superman just because he's like so powerful.
yeah, and I was definitely a Batman stan the whole time. Like Batman v Superman, I was like, yeah, Batman. He's way cooler. He has Nightwing. He has Alfred. Superman doesn't have an Alfred. He's a reporter. He barely makes any money.
True.
But you know,
Suggs upset because Batman's now a vampire.
did you what's the one? Justice League of God and Monsters where he actually is a vampire. Low key, that was pretty cool. I was pretty happy with that.
I only call him a vampire because of this new actor, but
That too. I don't know.
he looks cool.
I'm looking at it. I think that movie might pull it off.
I'm excited.
Oh, I was gonna ask you this. Do you like the DC universe being DCEU not being connected? Like if they just started doing a bunch of like Elseworld stories and didn't care about continuity like Marvel does?
So, because then you can always tie it in eventually.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I mean, you could say Joker's not a part of it, but you could easily put him in.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know if you can easily put him in, especially only because they show the death of Bruce Wayne's parents in the movie, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
So like,
Yeah.
and Joker's already like middle aged. Like, how old is he
Fighting
compared to
Batman.
Bruce Wayne in the comics? Like, I don't know. Eventually, you can tie it in, try continuity stuff. But I think the Joker specifically makes it a little more difficult just because of the way they decided to write it.
I mean, they could do the three Joker storyline where
Let's
there's
not talk
actually
about that.
well, it's an idea, and I cinematically I don't think I'd mind it as much. Like comic wise, I'm always like, don't give him an origin, don't do anything, don't explain it. And then the Three Joker thing came out, and I'm like, that's kind of cheap. But also, in cinematically, I'd be kind of okay with that. Plus, 3 different actors get their chance to play Joker. That would be kind of cool.
Jared Leto.
No.
I think he deserves a second chance.
I mean, he didn't have that much to work with in Suicide Squad, but even then,
I mean,
I
it
don't
wasn't
need that.
his fault. He was told to look like that.
Nah, you know what? Him and Mobius, though, I'll give him a
Mobius.
second chance for that. Yeah,
That movie did look pretty cool. Watching
I-
the trailer for it.
yeah, that I think that one's gonna be good. And
It's supposed to connect Spider-Man.
yeah, isn't this their setup for Sinister Six? So like Sony's taking care of all the villains, and Marvel's pretty much just doing the Spider-Man stuff, and I'm okay with that.
I'm not sure, actually.
I mean, they have Vulture, so they'd have Vulture, Venom, Mobius so
Scorpion.
far, Scorpion, Prowler, because they put him in, but I don't know if he'd be in Sinister Six.
I feel like Mysterio's probably still alive.
Yeah, Mysterio's definitely alive.
Mysterio's definitely still alive.
So is that 6 already?
You know?
I'd be okay. That's a good lineup, actually. I'd be okay with that.
I mean, Morbius is a little weird, though. Just to be in it.
Yeah,
I feel like you can't have a Sinister Six though without Doc Ock. Is the only thing for me.
they need a
Gotta be me
leader.
and the
Yeah,
boys.
I mean,
Me and the boys.
if they did, I guess Mysterio would be the leader out of that group.
Maybe.
Or Vulture.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe
you know what?
Vulture.
It probably would be Vulture.
Michael Keaton. That was a great casting. I didn't expect that,
was.
but that was a good casting. That car ride scene, I love that every time. That's so good.
That is good.
You know, I thought to say my favorite hero.
Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah,
Go
we
ahead,
got
Joe.
off topic.
We've
Yeah,
gotten that off topic.
14 minutes in.
You know what? It's a pretty obvious one. It's obviously Spider-Man.
I respect that.
There's no way to hate that.
I could have told you that. That's.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's respectable. Like he's just written so well. Like how
Now-
could you not like him?
I have to ask you, which Spider-Man? Because we know how
I feel
many
like-
there are.
Okay. Everyone knows Andrew Garfield is good for Spider-Man, but nothing else.
Yeah.
Because he's too cool. Then Tom Holland's definitely got the comedy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's better at Peter Parker than Spider-Man, because he's got a Tony Stark.
That's true.
So I think for now it's still Tobey Maguire for me.
Okay.
But as soon as like Spider-Man movies start being more independent again,
Yeah.
Tom Holland will take it.
Yeah, I think going forward, we'll get more of the Spider-Man development instead of the baby Iron Man development.
Because I'm not gonna lie, it influenced my top 5 a little. That
Yeah.
Do you guys think that they'll do a Spider Verse in the MCU?
maybe.
I think
Especially
so.
because
I think that
now Sam Raimi is directing the Doctor Strange 2. So like
that's what
you
everyone's
never know.
hoping for. Yeah.
It's just a little early.
It is. That's my only problem. Because I want it, but it is very early. But
I mean, I'd rather have Spider-Verse and they eventually kill off Peter Parker.
did I tell you that's like I started reading and getting back into Spider-Man comics 2010, 2011, and I was like, going through them in both the Ultimate and the regular universe. 2013 is when they killed off both of them, and I was like, what is this? Because I did not like the Superior
Spider.
I did not like that when it first happened. But one, his costume's sweet, and two, that storyline actually was really cool. I was surprised they pulled that off.
It was just bad for like, was it like the 500th comic or something?
Yeah, it was. I was like, oh my god, this is brutal.
All right.
I don't know. I want Miles Morales live action, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? We have a finally good Peter Parker in continuity. Let's give him a little bit longer before they just come in.
I just don't see what Miles could do right now.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it would be redundant right now if they did it.
It would have only worked if Spider-Man started in like the very beginning of the MCU.
Yeah. So yeah, we have to wait a little bit longer unless Sony like pushes their hand and they're like, you know what? We want another Spider-Man, and Kevin Feige's just like, dang, okay.
Should we start our top 5?
Yeah, we should probably actually start the actual main topic.
Okay. Who wants to go for their fifth one first?
I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I chose Doctor Strange as my
That
top
does
one.
not shock me.
Okay.
I
You have an
love
obsession
Doctor.
with that.
I do, because the movie is so similar to the animated Doctor Strange movie I used to watch as a kid, and people complain that it's just Iron Man with magic, and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of all he needs to be for me, and that worked. And I thought it was a really awesome origin movie. Like if you compare it to like Captain America one, the first Avenger, Iron Man one, Thor one, I think it holds up as probably my favorite origin movie still. Compared to Ant-Man one, it's definitely my favorite origin.
Hey, don't bash Thor.
I'm not bashing anyone. I'm just saying I feel like Doctor Strange really did a good origin story.
Thor is a secret gem.
And he's also proven he only gets better when you add more characters. Because him in Ragnarok and him in Infinity War and Endgame was amazing. Like that Thanos fight with Doctor Strange. And that's like what the rest of his series is going to be more like going forward. Since they took care of the origin, now we actually get to see the Sorcerer Supreme from now on. And I'm looking forward to that.
I'm just saying though, the whole like villain setup is kind of forgettable though now.
Yeah, someone mentioned that to me, and I was like, oh yeah, are they going to do that in Doctor Strange too? Because it's Multiverse of Madness, and I'm like, I completely forgot about that and figured it would just be like Dormammu or something, or like the new villain that because they were gonna do something else too, because they had this new villain that dealt more in the multiverse in the comics, but like I'm okay with it, and maybe he's just there and like an underling type thing, but
They literally
either
come
way,
killing off like all the sorcerers, and like Doctor
yeah,
Strange has not cared yet.
he's been kind of busy. Maybe he got dusted too. He probably got dusted, so he doesn't have to worry about it. So he hasn't been killing people these whole 5 years,
Oh
I
yeah, I
completely forgot about the Mordo arc they were gonna try and do.
right?
I kind of liked it when they just kept him like a friend.
If they kept it longer, like he was just there with Wong, even during Infinity War, that would have been kind of cool.
I would
Actually,
have liked to see him in Infinity War or Endgame. I mean, I know
yeah,
obviously he's not like a good guy, but if they would have, had have him turn in Doctor Strange, it would have been pretty cool to see.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. I agree
obviously
with that.
now it wouldn't have mattered to make him a villain yet because they kind of just forgot about him.
And he's not like full villain like he is in the comics either right now. He's
Yeah,
just mad at the previous Sorcerer Supreme for being like hypocritical and disobeying her own rules. So like I don't know what they could do with him going forward because he's not evil per se yet. He's still a good person, I feel like. So that arc is kind of weird to not fill out yet.
I mean, he
it's
did
also
kill somebody though.
yeah.
That's true. He's morally gray. Yeah. He's definitely not good, but he's definitely not evil yet.
The problem is I don't know if Doctor Strange is also going to address his love interest either, ever again.
I don't think so. I think they
Kind of
moved
like
on from that.
how Thor forgot about Jane, but now they're going to bring her back.
True. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they'd bring her back.
They have the girl from Mean Girls and the Notebook.
That is true.
Doctor
And I
Strange should
think
have a Notebook moment.
and I think compared to the other love interests, I think that was slightly better. But she wasn't developed or in it enough, so I'm like, I'd be fine either way if they bring her back or not. So it's okay. It's good. It's good enough.
See, Doctor Strange is a good one, but there's just so many forgettable things.
That's true. But that's also the one I rewatched the most, mostly because it was on Netflix for so long, and I was
I
like,
don't think I've
"Yo,
ever
this is sweet."
rewatched it.
I
I've
have.
rewatched it a few times.
I will now, though.
I think it holds up.
I think can we also appreciate the fact how they handled Dormammu at the end? It's not like a typical like showdown like fight one on one.
Yeah,
They kind of took it like a little on the smarter, the wit side, and I think that was pretty cool.
yeah, I like that.
If it was any other movie, it would have been really depressing, like Captain Marvel.
I mean, they kind of did that in Captain Marvel. It was one punch at the end.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It was depressing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, I like that, especially getting into the dark dimension and like going through all of that stuff. I kind of think going forward, I want it to be as weird as possible, like full weird for Doctor Strange from now on. And I think that's what they're going with Multiverse of Madness and tying it to WandaVision and stuff. I think going forward, it's just going to be a complete mess, like chaos the whole time. And I can't wait for it.
I feel like it's more now. It's easier to appreciate it more now, though, seeing what it could lead into.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think it's a good starting point for the character. And going from there, they've already seemed to take him up a notch in the Avengers movies. So going forward, I think it only gets better.
Okay.
All right, Sam, you're number
Alright,
5.
For my number 5, you guys might have this a little higher than I do, but I actually have the first Avengers movie at number 5. And the reason I have it at number 5 is I think overall it's a really good like coming together movie, but I just don't know about like the whole arc in general. Like it's a great movie. The action sequences are fantastic. The visuals, Loki obviously is a great villain. But I don't. It didn't hit the spot for me like the other Avengers movies did. And I think when the heroes go off into their own things, like Captain America saves that one lady in the cafe, or like Iron Man's just flying around, I feel like I would have liked a little more of the team fight aspect to the movie.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So that's my number 5 for me.
See, I'm always like very mixed on this movie. Like, not that it was bad at all. Like, it's insane because it was like one of the perfect theater experiences. But then, like, it's one of those that you just rewatch so many times, it loses that spark. So it makes it harder to rate it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I feel like I've seen Captain America and Iron Man stare each other down so many times in that movie.
That's true.
And
No,
it's sad.
I forget the Germany scene a lot of the time when I rewatched it, and I'm like, I forgot this whole scene happened, and I'm like, I kind of like it.
It's a little sad, though, that the Coulson death had no meaning in the end.
Yeah.
Are you watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Sam?
It's funny. It's because my dad just rewatched the entire season on Netflix.
Jeez.
So
I
was popping in and out, and I never actually finished the season when they were in space. I think that was the most recent season. I've never finished that one. So I
Because
might rewatch
3
that.
behind.
I always binge it at the end, and I always pretty much have to start from the beginning until I remember everything. Then I skip to where I'm like, okay, I know what's happening. Watch the recap, then go into it. But they still have this final season starting this week? Yeah, this week. I think it starts Wednesday. Or maybe Tuesday.
My
Either
last
way, I don't
season
know.
was the Hellrider one.
Okay.
That's like a while ago, I think.
Yeah, that was hot.
It is now, yeah.
Sure.
Well,
But
the
I gotta
thing
say, though,
is,
that is the best season for me, in my opinion. I love
think
that
season
season.
1 is.
I think season 1, yeah.
Season 1 was good.
The way they did that whole arc with Robbie Reyes was just incredible. I was so stoked.
That's true.
Well, the problem with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for me is it's supposed to be like an agent show, but then they got rid of S.H.I.E.L.D. basically in the universe, so.
Yeah, so it was kind of weird.
And they also added the Inhumans, so now like you have Daisy with her like earthquake abilities, and now it's just like, oh, we need help, Daisy, just go blow everything up.
Do you think Quake will be in the new Avengers?
I hope so.
Not.
I think she's pretty cool.
She is in the comics, so I was just asking.
I don't think they will.
She's not tied enough to the universe where I'd want her.
But I mean, new Avengers would give them that chance, Miss Marvel, Quake.
I don't know who I want in this new Avengers though.
I mean, they are doing a Miss Marvel show, She-Hulk show.
Don't remind me.
She-Hulk could be cool.
Yeah, I want She-Hulk to be in the movies after her show. I think that would be cool.
I'm just not that interested in more Hulk though. Because no Planet Hulk.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I wonder if they'll do anything with Thunderbolt Ross.
I don't know.
Like Red Hulk?
Yeah.
Maybe they are just branching out from Hulks now. That'd be kind of cool. I'd be okay with that.
I just don't want them to go past Red Hulk and She-Hulk, because after that, it's just odd.
What's the one, Scar?
Yeah, there's Scar and then there's A-Bomb.
A-Bomb. That's the other one. I don't like A-Bomb, but I do like Scar, kind of.
That's because he can fly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But there's so many different Hulks. There's like Hulkling, Grey Hulk.
Oh, I forgot about Hulkling. That'd be interesting. I don't know.
Okay,
But
Joey,
yeah,
do you want to do your number 5?
Yeah, I'm learning we have a big distraction issue.
yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
we do.
Let's stay on task.
One, we get off topic real easy, and two, Sug's not very good at transitions.
I am not. I'll work on those transitions.
You can't even pay attention to when there's one.
I can't.
Okay, my number 5. I think I'm gonna go with Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm gonna go with it because I was thinking of like movie experience, how much I'd want to rewatch them, and Guardians is definitely one I've rewatched so many times and can still appreciate. And that soundtrack.
Yeah.
Soundtrack is
Yeah.
good.
I really like this movie, but I feel like after it, you can tell that they kind of took a lot of inspiration going forward. Like with the comedy became a little bigger after Guardians and going forward until
Yeah.
you actually hit the Infinity War and Endgame and stuff. But
Mhm.
like this was the original one to do it, and I do respect it for that. But I don't know. I haven't rewatched it in a really long time.
Neither have
Actually, I
I.
kind of need to.
It's been a little bit, but like it's just always on,
Yeah,
and you
Yeah.
can just sit down and watch it and do whatever you want.
that's true.
It's just like it's like a classic now. Can't go wrong with it.
You can't. That's true.
The dance battle at the end.
They really have branched out from the epic fight at the end to just some
Yeah.
weird, unique ways to end the movie, and I'm okay with that.
I like it
Yeah.
sometimes.
I like that one. I think that one was cool.
I think I
Do you like now that in Endgame that you see him
brought it up.
dancing?
Yeah.
I kind of like that better. Like if they started it like that and that just had him zooming out without the music, I think that would have been so funny.
Yeah.
The only confusing part of Guardians ever was their timeline
Yeah.
because it's like all like not even a month or something crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. I haven't looked at it at the actual official timeline since it like came out.
Because like the second one I think takes place right after.
It's pretty soon after, yeah.
Yeah, because I know if you want to view all of the movies in like the way that they occurred,
I'm
I
gonna
know
do
Guardians
that
of the
too.
Galaxy 1 and 2 come like right next to each other.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
So,
You ready for Adam Warlock, Joey, then?
No,
are they doing that arc?
I don't know.
they
I
set
think
it
they
up a
I
little.
think they have to in Guardians 3.
They set it up, but like now that Thor's gonna be in like Guardians. Wait, is Thor gonna be in Guardians 3?
I don't know.
It hasn't been confirmed. They did say Rocket and Groot will be in,
be in
Thor
Thor.
3. But we don't
Thor
know if
4.
it's just 4.
Yeah,
Yeah,
4.
jeez. But they don't I don't know if it's just like if it's just a cameo, like if they just kick him out at the very beginning and
Yeah,
drop him
yeah.
back off or something like a joke.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of hope they do keep Thor in, and that's how we get Beta Ray Bill. Because Beta Ray Bill, Thor, and all of the Guardians sounds like an amazing movie to me.
Beta Ray
Mhm.
Bill is kind of in the universe already, I think.
He was on
His-
the Ragnarok
Yeah.
Yeah.
statues.
Yeah, he's there. And the fact that he wasn't in the Coliseum makes me so sad every time I watch that movie.
Yeah.
That would have been so cool. But I'm still holding out hope because I do love Beta Ray Bill. I think he's so cool.
I don't know. I'm just really looking forward to Thor and Guardians.
Yeah.
Just because of like that dynamic now, because they got the comedy.
So going forward though, with the cosmic universe, do you want them to cross over more with like Captain Marvel and like when we get to the Korean Scroll stuff? Do you want them to keep going with the Guardians being a part of that? Or should they stay separate out of that sort of thing?
I think they should cross over. It's just when you say Captain Marvel, her stories just don't seem that
personally that they should
interesting
stay
for them.
separate.
Yeah, like I can't see the
Yeah,
Guardians
I think the
working
Guardians
with
of the
Captain Marvel.
Galaxy-
That seems kind of weird to me.
Like I could see them like a
Yeah.
little bit, like during the Kree Scroll, like you mentioned they
Yeah.
were a part of it or something.
Yeah,
But like they'd be so like bored with Captain Marvel.
that's so true.
And they're also like kind of labeled as outcasts and renegades and stuff, like because they're not really good because they like steal from people, but like they also saved the galaxy, and you got that whole balance thing.
Yeah,
And I just because Captain Marvel's all righteous and true, and I just don't think that would work. Like the dynamic wouldn't work well.
I
Yeah.
think the best Guardians roster would probably be Rocket, Groot, Thor. For some, just throw Spider-Man in there, Star-Lord, and then Drax. If you
Yeah.
just want ultimate comedy hour.
Oh God.
I think you have to put Nebula in there for like the like rock head
Serious?
moments. Like yeah,
Yeah.
not even it's like some simple thing that she misunderstands. You know,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
like I think that'd be funny.
You know,
Actually, you could throw Doctor Strange there too.
I really respect this movie just because it was able to convince mainstream audiences that this was an amazing idea. Because
Yeah.
like in the comics, it is cool seeing them, but like there's a talking raccoon, and now there's Mantis in it too. Like I did not expect them to go that route. And Guardians, that's only phase 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean they just dove into it. So I mean, I think that's pretty awesome that they actually pulled it off because that is a really good movie.
I'm not gonna lie, my viewing experience for it wasn't the best because I really had to pee.
Oh my gosh.
You're like Bobby who has to pee during every movie.
Oh God.
But I didn't get up. I sucked it up for like a whole hour.
Oh my god.
Jeez. I've never left a movie to go pee.
Look at you.
I don't think
I
I'm
don't
not
do
sure.
that.
I don't think I have.
I'm not ruining my experience. I paid $15 to get in there. Nah, I'm not
$15
leaving a
is like
second.
pocket change for you, quite literally pocket change.
That's not the point. Movies are expensive. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
They
that's
are.
true.
Especially now that we're going to the Regal now instead of Flicks. Oof.
Well, we only did that for
We've been doing that
Marvel.
going forward. I haven't been back to Flicks except when I
Actually,
saw Endgame the second time, and
Flicks
that was
was
just a
great
birthday
though.
present.
Because if you see a movie
yeah,
later,
Sug's right. We have been going to the Regal a lot more.
Yeah,
if you see a movie
but
that
that
came
later.
out like a while ago, it's just you and whoever you're with.
That's true.
It's just like
That's
an
true.
empty theater. It's so nice.
That is nice. I do like Flicks. It's a home feeling, you know. Yeah. Though I have to say I've gotten too used to sitting up front at the movie theater
I'm
because
so sick of that though.
I went to Flicks and sat like in a normal like middle row, like in the second section, but like the front of the second section, so middle of the theater. It was really far for me. Like also there's a screen difference because we've been seeing the RPX and stuff, but like
Yeah.
I felt so far away and it was so weird.
Well, I actually like the front row was not bad at Regal, but I would prefer not to be in it every time.
I like it. Immerses you into the movie. You see nothing except that giant screen. Frozen 2 on that giant screen, that hit.
I saw Frozen at Flicks.
Ah,
All right. We got to get back on topic.
Yeah,
here. We got to
jeez.
stop talking about Frozen.
My bad.
I think we're on Sug. What's your number 4?
okay, my number 4, I chose Black Panther.
Of course.
I saw that.
Thank you,
coming
Sam.
a mile away.
Hey, you got to give it credit. It got the nomination. It got it got more awards than any of these other movies
It was really
at the
good,
Oscars.
Yeah. It was
And
really good.
again, for a first solo movie, even though he was introduced in Civil War, I think it's leagues better than a lot of the other ones. So,
Did you see
yeah.
Chadwick Boseman though might drop out of the role because they won't pay him more?
Oof. I mean, he deserves a lot of money. I mean,
But like, they make so much money.
they do. They do. But I mean, that was a phenomenon. That made Avengers level money when that came out, and that's insane.
The thing is, though, you could go without another Black Panther movie.
You could if he only showed up in Avengers movies. But like there's still some cool stories they can do, especially if they use him. Yeah. But if they use him to introduce like Fantastic Four and stuff like they did in the comics, I'd be kind of happy with that.
Yeah.
It's more I like the relationships for Black Panther, like him and the Avengers, him and Fantastic Four. Like going forward, he's definitely more of a team character, but he still has some cool solo stories they could do.
It's just they would have to get a villain that could compare to Killmonger.
That's true. Well, it's rumored that they're going to do the Atlantis storyline with Namor and stuff.
Yeah.
Or they might do, was it Baku? They might make a bad guy.
I hope not.
Like that.
I think
Yeah, I
they
wouldn't
might
like
do
that.
They said.
Oh, I don't like that
I
because
like
he's so
Baku's
cool.
character.
Yeah, I don't want them to change. Like I get putting him in a more of a leading role, but don't make him the villain.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Chadwick Boseman though lately?
Yeah.
Oh, the weight loss thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, jeez.
he did not look healthy.
He did not. It's like Christian Bale for some of his movies. That man fluctuates in weight so fast.
This is his method acting.
That's true. Okay, Sam. What's your
Alright.
number 4?
My number 4, also I think is a little overhyped, but I still think it's a really good movie, is The Winter Soldier.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Sam,
just
your
kidding.
list. Just
Your
keep
list?
going. Keep going.
Hear me,
Keep going.
hear me out. Fantastic movie. I loved it. It's a great, like, it's number 4 out of like 24.
Okay. Okay.
Like it's a phenomenal movie.
If
I
you
think.
called it overhyped, that was the
Yeah,
problem.
that's. Ooh.
It's just a little overhyped. I like.
Okay,
It's
well you do talk
Captain
to Sung
America
about
and Black Widow.
That's true. I
Are
hyped
really
that
good.
movie up.
Black Widow and Captain America are both really good in this movie, and Falcon too. I actually kind of almost forgot he was in it, but Falcon is really good in this movie. But the problem with me was, like, the Winter Soldier. Like, you're kind of like you don't even know. I don't know. I didn't think he was like that great of a villain because he's kind of just controlled by
I don't know
Hydra.
about that.
He's
Really?
just controlled by Hydra
Compared to the other Marvel villains, I thought he held up, and his arc holds up too.
because the villain is just Hydra in that movie.
Yeah, Alexander Pierce is definitely the villain, but like,
Yeah.
I thought him using Winter Soldier. I think that holds up. I think Winter Soldier makes that movie really amazing.
I agree. I think the way that like he fights and this like the mystery behind him is really good, but the way that Hydra controls him wasn't really like that great for me.
No.
Like maybe if he would have turned on Hydra in that movie, like that would have
Okay.
been pretty cool for me. But I just
So
it
you
was a
you kind of
fantastic
want
movie.
a more complete arc for Winter
Yes.
Soldier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't want it to spill over into Civil War.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
do agree with that.
That was a problem with Civil War too.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think Civil War. Not that it
No.
should have been separate, but I don't think they should have led into it with Bucky. He shouldn't have been the main focus of Civil War. That bothered me.
I still think him being the main focus wasn't the best, but making his like arc with Tony's parents was pretty good.
I did like that. That's a good connection.
That was really good.
That's-
I like that a lot.
Because like we know Captain America and Tony have very different views, but it's hard to believe they completely fight each other over like signing something and only something.
Yeah.
Like to the death.
Though, you already saw that. So Avengers 1, you see
They
the stress
don't-
between the two. Then Avengers 2, you really start to see it. So I always figured that the fight wasn't actually about that. It was about Tony kind of being like, I messed up and this is how I have to like make amends for it. I have to really stay on the straight and narrow the whole time in Civil War. But yeah, they always did. They focused it on Winter Soldier too much. They should have finished that arc in the Winter Soldier movie.
Yeah. But the revelation about the parents was a good way though. To at least make it like
Yeah, to
Fightable.
connect it. Yeah.
I think what would have been really good if they didn't really address Bucky throughout the whole movie until that point. And
Yeah.
then it'd be like this whole, Bucky, like, I kind of hate you now, as, like, if you're Tony Stark. And then you got that whole arc going now. But it kind of dragged out between the two movies, and I think that was the problem. It became more of a Winter Soldier movie than a Captain America movie.
Which was actually an
Yeah,
Avengers
that's-
movie in disguise.
Yeah.
That movie was so
Yeah,
many
that's
things. Yeah.
but it was so good.
All right, Joey. Number 4.
I feel like you guys can see where this one's about to go. We're gonna go with Thor Ragnarok. This movie was
respect
so
that.
funny. It's something you don't expect out of Thor. It makes you love Thor as a character. Like now he's like an MVP of the MCU just because now he's so likable. And it's even given him a 4th movie. None of the original Avengers have had a 4th movie yet.
I'm gonna say it. Taika Waititi might be a genius.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That sums up that whole movie.
Yeah. I only have one singular problem with Thor Ragnarok. And
It's
that's
the
the
villain.
fact that they kind of didn't make Hela as dangerous as she should be. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? They kind of
That's true.
undermined the whole evil part of it. But other than that, I thought it was a fantastic movie.
I
Yeah.
think the thing is though, it's like because Thor's so powerful, and now he's just such a goofy guy. He's just like, I could take it.
Well, I remember you loving this movie when it came out and getting really hyped for Thor being with the Guardians and stuff in Infinity War.
Yeah,
But then first 5 minutes of that movie, they completely undo all of that.
yeah, that was
It looks like everyone's dead. And then the rest of the storyline where Ragnarok was like Thor has the power in himself. The rest of the storyline was like Thor needs a new hammer. And you were like, they pretty much just undid this whole movie.
And we're gonna talk
yeah,
about
but
the eye too.
they did
Oh,
make
the
him
eye.
completely OP.
They did. So it was okay. And it worked out. But I do find that funny that it pretty much undid all of it.
My thing is like after Thor 4, I hope like he doesn't die. Like I know they're gonna make him take a back seat and like get like a new Thor probably. But, like I kind of hope he's just still there, so like you could just bring him in randomly.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's not much to say that's bad about the movie, but there's a lot to say that's good. And that's
That's
why
true.
it's number 4.
That's true. Okay. Um, my number 3. I put Endgame here.
All right.
I
Respectable.
really like this movie. Easily my best experience in the theater ever,
Agree.
Can't doubt that one.
but it wasn't quite as clean as Infinity War, so I put it lower. And I think it did amazing for what it needed to do. So yeah,
Gotcha.
Endgame.
I think the biggest problem I had with Endgame was like the first hour and a half was so slow, right? Like, because we all
Yeah.
kind of knew the story arc going into the movie that they're gonna
Yeah.
have time travel.
At least the first part.
Yeah.
So
First
like
part that the
we
time
all
travel.
knew it was gonna happen anyway, and they just took so long to get there. You know.
Yeah.
I don't.
But then like you got the last half of the movie, which is just it's basically all action all the time, and it's incredible.
See, I'm not gonna judge them too much because like they gave themselves that 3-hour mark for a reason, and they had to show like the effects.
Yeah.
Because there was no movie yet to show what actually it was like.
Yeah. And like
So I'll give it to them.
I figured too, if you watched all of the movies leading up to this, the amount of Easter eggs and stuff that they put in this movie, like it felt like a finale and all of the references helped with that, but it didn't feel like just a clip show either like some finales end up doing. But like the callbacks and the way they hit, but also I remember being so anxious just sitting in the theater the whole entire time. Even the slow parts, I didn't find them slow because I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, what is happening? And
Yeah.
like my brain just wanted to shut down.
I remember being a little bothered at first because I'm like, huh. At the slow part, I'm just like, this is kind of weird. Just because like they had to show it's been 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So it did throw me off a little bit because I was just expecting some giant like finale the entire time.
Yeah.
At times. Yeah, I'll go next though because mine was the same. I had Endgame for third, and the only reason I put it like under like third is because like it's just harder to rewatch because there's just so much emotional impact to it.
That's true.
Like, it's just hard to
Yeah.
rewatch.
Yeah. And nothing's gonna I haven't rewatched it, but nothing's also going to be the first time you saw that in theaters.
Yeah,
Yep. I can honestly say Endgame was the first time I've ever cried in a movie theater.
I did not
Like,
cry to it.
I did not.
The time like I cried like the portal scene when that all happened, my mind was blown. And I think just
Yeah.
after that point, it was just downhill from there for me.
Well, you know the thing too? The amount of callbacks to like the random movies, like the Winter Soldier
Oh yeah,
combats, the elevator scene, the on your left, all of that, like that surprised me. And even they went to Thor 2. They went to Dark World, which everyone agreed was pretty much the worst movie, and they actually made it relevant. And I'm like, wow, okay.
that was probably the most confused I was in the movie because I have like no recollection of that movie.
See, I felt like it was a payoff. It was a good payoff for anyone that stuck with the franchise that entire time,
Oh
and it
yeah.
was
Yeah.
all of the callbacks and stuff. Like they even put in Jarvis and the actor who played him from Agent Carter too. They brought him in, and
That
I
They
was
was
put
really
like,
good.
geez,
Kitten from 3 that no one
yeah,
remembers.
Yeah.
exactly. And like, there's arguments for fan service, but I feel like it wasn't fan service per se. It was like paying you back for sticking with them all this time
Yeah.
and
The thing
believing in
is,
them and
too, though,
supporting
like,
Marvel.
because like Iron Man dies, so like he had an impact on a lot of people. So you can't
Yeah,
say it's fan service either.
yeah,
Like I'm sorry, he knew like half of the people in this world.
true,
He did start the universe.
true. Okay, Sam, what was your number
All
three?
right. My number 3 was Far From Home. And
Ooh,
the
I
reason I
respect
have
that.
this on number 3, I think, is strictly because of Mysterio. Going in the movie, I knew he was a villain. Like, obviously, if you know anything about comics
yeah,
and Marvel, Mysterio is a clear and cut villain.
Hey,
But
take
you
that
go into the
through you all.
movie, and you just hope that he's a good guy just because of the relationship he pretends to have with Peter.
yeah,
You know,
That's a fact.
and
yeah.
you're just like, I just don't want to see the time where he turns. And then when he finally gets the Edith glasses and everything starts to change, you're like, why? Like, it would have been so cool to see them team up together more.
Were you a
And I just
little
think,
bothered though? It was so
about
strong,
what?
Iron Man again. Or do you think it was
Um,
okay because it was like post Endgame?
I don't know. I mean, because obviously Peter probably had like one of the best relationships with Tony, and Tony cared so much about Peter. I think it was okay that he was had a presence in the movie, you know,
Yeah.
because everyone's like the whole question is who's the next Iron Man or whatever, and obviously everyone expects it to be Peter because of that father son relationship that they had. But I like how they also tied it into him. He's still an irresponsible little kid, like not a little
Yeah.
kid, but he's still a teenager. He's obviously not going to make all the right choices, and when he gave the Edith glasses to Mysterio, you kind of get
It
that
made
like
sense.
realism effect. Yeah,
I just
I
don't know if the Edith glasses were too far, like too much.
yeah,
I
but
think it was a good like gift, or like I guess to Peter, it's like, oh, these are the glasses Tony always wore or whatever. Making it like a super technical like invention
Yeah.
kind of made it a little too far, but
a
I think it was
MacGuffin.
good. Yeah, yeah,
Like I don't have a problem with Happy in the movie though. It's like
Yeah,
he doesn't have tech. It's just the fact that the technology was the only thing that brought like the movie down a little for me.
my only real problem with the Iron Man aspect of it, I think it was good, and I like that they actually addressed what happened.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I kind of wish it would have been more focused on Peter. Like, he died. He straight up died.
yeah.
And I was like, I like that he's grieving over Iron Man, but I thought maybe they could tie it into like him going through something just that traumatic and stuff, going through all of that. So I kind of wish they tied it and kept the focus more on Peter. But I do like that they at least addressed something that happened overall.
Yeah.
So I think it
And
works.
I think also the CGI in this movie is phenomenal. It is so good, and when Peter finally realizes that Mysterio is like a villain, that whole sequence when he gets hit by the train is
Oh yeah.
perfect. It's
Yeah,
perfect. Like
yeah,
you don't even know in the audience what's going on,
yeah.
and
Right.
that was incredible.
That first Mysterio fight scene was so good.
I saw
I definitely think that's the best Spider-Man movie in the
All
MCU.
right, number twos.
for
Number
me.
two.
Okay,
I
number
mean,
two
I
for
need you to
me.
go first.
I'll go first.
All
Excuse
right.
me. Excuse me. I put Infinity War at number two. And so, like I was saying with Endgame, it was a good movie, but I felt like it was messier. Infinity War was a clean movie. It went in knowing what it had to do and hit every point. And I don't think, and the focus was on Thanos, so they didn't have to worry about developing other characters. You knew what they were going into the movie. And I just liked that. I thought it was so clean the way they did it. And people were so worried about this movie because this was the first time they had a cast that big. and like they pulled it off so well, and it so easily could have been a mess, but it was so good. And unlike Endgame, there are no slow parts in this movie. The second it starts, it just goes.
That's true. I'm not gonna lie, Sam. I'm pretty sure from the third movie on, Sug and I have the same list.
Yep.
Really?
So
Yeah.
Infinity War is the same for me. But because Sug already addressed the good parts, I'll address one negative. The use of Captain America was a little lackluster at points.
Yeah.
Because they literally just split up.
Yeah, he did seem not. I want to say irrelevant, but he wasn't present in the movie as much as I wanted him to be.
He has this cool intro scene, and then he doesn't really do anything to the big fight with Thanos.
Yeah. Though they paid that off in Endgame, so I am happy with that. But
that's probably
yeah,
the biggest negative.
You're right. And I was also very mad at the trailers for this movie for revealing that the person behind the train was Captain America, because I saw that scene so many times beforehand, because I rewatched that trailer a million times before that movie, and that made me so very mad that I knew that, because I wasn't as excited when he actually showed up than I wish I would have been. And that's why Endgame, me and you, Joey, after the first teaser trailer, we didn't watch any of the rest of the trailers for Endgame leading up to it. And
no trailers.
That was definitely the move.
I remember that. I remember you guys did that.
Because the problem was Steve every 5 seconds, or Ben is playing it in the background.
Oh.
Yeah, the only thing...
I think it was more of Ben than anybody.
The only thing that was spoiled for me after the first teaser trailer was the suits, because Ben showed me a picture. He was like, Sug, you see this? And I was like, dang it, Ben.
I keep getting spoiled the time travel suits.
But also, going back to Endgame real quick, that was the only movie I was more hyped for after I walked out of the theater.
Yeah.
I also went home and binged all of the Endgame trailers to see what they did for some of them. And that one where it goes through every single movie, that was so cool.
Yeah, that one was cool.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Endgame is there's so much to talk about once you get out of the movie. You're like, whoa, did you notice this? Oh, did you see that? There's just so much that was so well done. I think is part of the reason going into this. Endgame was actually my number 2. Yeah, Endgame was my number 2.
But I got interviewed after Infinity War, so...
I remember the interview. The interview was funny.
That movie was marvelous.
Yeah, I remember.
You can't say anything.
About that.
Everyone dies. What do you want me to say?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I had Endgame at number 2 just because of the way, I guess, it was the movie experience, I guess. The movie experience was something I've never had before. It's just so well done. And that's the reason why I had it at number 2. I won't talk about it that much because we already talked about it. So.
Favorite moment, real quick, Sam.
Favorite moment?
Yeah, in Endgame.
In Endgame? Oh, that's a tough one. Honestly, underrated one. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I want to talk about this underrated part. At the very end, when Thor goes on to the Milano, and him and Star-Lord have a who's the leader moment.
Oh, yeah.
It's hilarious, and I love that.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Do you have what's your least favorite?
My least favorite part of the movie?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know how else they really could have done this, but the fact that Ant-Man gets out of the quantum realm because of rat stepped on a few buttons, kind of a little sketchy, but I'm okay with it. It's fine. The rest of the movie pays off.
Yeah. Joey, real quick, what was your favorite Endgame moment? Or favorite and least favorite, do it.
My least favorite? It wasn't, it's not a bad part. It's where they do, that girl power thing. Not because, it was girl power, but because they, really forced it in with Spider-Man. But it was still really funny because, it's just Peter Parker staring at them oh.
I actually thought that was the perfect amount of woman power in the movie because I feel like nowadays you kind of need to have that kind of aspect. Yeah, but I think they did it well enough. Yeah, I think they did it well enough to where it was okay.
I didn't dislike it. It was just it's they blatantly said it was the only part I didn't like.
The only thing about that part I don't like is the fact that they killed Black Widow off, and that made me so if anyone deserves to be leading that pose, it's Black Widow, and that made me mad. But my favorite part, I think I
can't really
actually
think
have
of
to
a
go
favorite
with
part.
I have to go with Hail Hydra, where Captain America says it in the elevator. I love that
Really?
so much. I love
I
that
think the
so much.
funniest part was where he looks at his ass and goes, "That's
Yeah, I
America's
forgot
ass."
about that part.
America's ass.
I think that
Yeah,
was definitely the funniest part.
that was definitely the best joke they had. Yeah,
I think probably the coolest scene is definitely where Thanos just blows them all up. And you're just like, oh shit, did they really kill him off again?
yeah. Going into that third act, they literally blew their way into the third act with missiles. I was like, okay, jeez.
Whoa.
And the way they shot it too, it looks like with his ship blocking out of the sun. I was like, gee, it didn't look like a shot from an Avengers movie.
No.
Yeah. I really thought they were killing off War Machine though when that happened.
Really, I didn't think he would.
Oh, do you mean like when they were trapped, like
Yeah.
underwater?
Mm.
That would have been such like a nonchalant way to kill off.
Kill him, yeah.
I guess. But I
Because
mean,
he's been
it
there,
is
he's been there
Thanos.
since day one. If you like, don't
Technically,
want to count
the
the
character,
after change.
the character has
Yeah.
been there since day one.
Yeah.
He just becomes such a forgettable character though after the Iron Man movies.
Did you guys
Yeah.
want to do honorable mentions?
Sure. So
Did you guys
my
want to do
honorable, like,
mentions?
I had honorable mentions just for the top 5. My honorable mentions were definitely Civil War, Spider-Man: Far From Home, and Black Panther.
Okay.
Because as we already went over, Spider-Man: Far From Home is really good. He's my favorite superhero. Civil War was insane. It used to be like really high up, like higher up. But then after a while, after watching it so much, it lost some of the appeal.
Yeah.
And then Black Panther, I think Sug covered enough.
Yeah. For my honorable mentions, I had Age of Ultron. I think that movie's underrated.
It is underrated. I'll
It's
give you
definitely
that.
underrated.
It definitely is, and I don't know why, because it's a really good movie. It holds up very well.
I think it's just like it's a little choppy at times.
It was, and I get it's the sequel, so everyone was coming off like. So first they were coming off Avengers, but they were also coming off like Winter Soldier, Thor, Dark World, so like, and then Iron Man 3, which take it or leave it was decent. But like, yeah, I feel like it was
now
underrated. Yeah. Then so Age of Ultron, Civil War, which Joey covered. I think it's a good movie, and we talked about it before. I think it's just kind of messy, and the way they chose to do it. And personally, I wish they waited to do it, but
Yeah.
seeing how it turned out, there's no way they could have done it at any other place, so I'm okay with it.
I think they set it up though to be able to have like a Civil War sequel, because it's technically Captain America Civil War.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like MCU Civil War.
Yeah, it's not Marvel Civil War, so yeah, they could.
I mean, it will suck without Captain America and Iron Man, but
yeah. Then my third honorable mention was Iron Man 1, because that movie is over 10 years old. One, it still looks great, and that's very close to honestly being a masterpiece for me, except the third act. That's the only problem I have with that movie. And we were talking about that, how they kind of transferred into more clever endings.
Or just different.
Or different endings, but that one was very superhero cookie cutter, quote unquote epic ending with the fight with Ironmonger, and I didn't enjoy it.
It like cemented the Marvel formula.
Yeah, it did.
See, the problem with me for Iron Man is it's just because I don't think I saw it in the movie theater, so it loses some of the specialness.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and it gets compared to so many other movies now for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if we did a full ranking, it'd be pretty low, is what I'm saying for me.
I think it'd be middle if we did a full ranking for me.
It'd probably be my most diverse of entries.
Yeah.
Maybe Captain Marvel.
Okay.
I don't know how many Captain Marvel fans there are.
Yeah. Okay, Sam. Honorable mentions real quick.
I have two. They're more of like underrated movies, I think, in my opinion. Like they're honorable mentions where I enjoy them every time I watch them, but I think they're really underrated, and that is Thor 1, which I know Joey likes. Thor 1 it's so funny. Like They don't
But it
try to
was-
make it funny,
That's
but
the problem.
yeah, the way that Thor just like talks and like interacts with people from Earth, I think is hilarious.
Just smashes
And
cups.
then I also have
Another.
Sug just mentioned it. Iron Man 3. I think Iron Man 3 was like it obviously isn't like the villain is like but I think the way Iron Man like is portrayed, and I like Harley in it, and I think the soundtrack's really good, and I just and like Happy in it is a big seller for me too. I
That's
just
true.
think overall it was a pretty underrated movie.
Okay.
Best joke. The best joke is the kid tells him that his father left him. He says, "Don't be a pussy."
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It just
Number ones.
it like encompasses basically all of Iron Man.
That's true.
It's just they should have done the villain probably.
Yeah. Though I don't know,
Well,
because
maybe not the
I
same.
do
They could have
like
done any other villain.
yeah, and maybe if the focus was actually just on, is it AIM in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. If the focus was just AIM and they didn't do the I almost said Mandalorian. The Mandarin, I would have been like, okay, but and I do actually appreciate the psych out a little more now.
Yeah. But they just made him so cool looking at first.
Yeah.
Is the problem.
And I was so hyped for that villain because I thought that would be a villain going forward too. Like if they wanted to keep going with Iron Man, that's a villain you keep around for a little bit, like do the actual 10 ring storylines and stuff. But like honestly, yeah, it is underrated now, and it gets a bad rap for that too. But I think it does hold up. It's a good movie.
The biggest problem is that third act.
See, I kind of like that. I like the whole battle with
Well, no,
all
I
of the
like
suits and stuff.
I like the battle, but the problem is the villain is kind of lame.
Yeah,
And then they
that's
set
true.
up Iron Man like quitting basically, and then they're like 5 minutes later he's Iron Man.
That's true. Yeah, that's a problem with a lot of these
Yeah.
movies.
Hey, Captain
So,
America
we'll
never
have an
just
old
quit
Captain
quick.
America running around.
That'd be
Imagine.
bad.
Okay.
I was-
Okay.
Okay, my
Number
number
ones.
one.
I think I know both yours. The way you reacted to my list.
How about we do Sam's?
Yeah, let's do
Mine-
Sam.
Mine is pretty. I think it's pretty obvious. It's Infinity War. How could you not have it at least at number 2 or number 1?
Yeah,
You're on the edge of your seat the whole time. The interactions between the characters is fantastic, and I didn't like this watching
Huh?
it, but now that Endgame's out, I enjoyed it. The two separate battles that were done, with like you have Tony Stark on Titan, and then Captain America on Wakanda, and then they all come together at the end in Endgame. I thought that was really good.
I still think what really like makes it insane is the fact that Spider-Man's not going to be dead for long, but you just still feel that giant impact of oh my gosh, he just killed everyone.
Yeah.
Like really helps.
The way I felt after that movie, I was sitting next to Steve, and we just looked at each other. Our jaws are to the floor. We're like, "What just happened?" And you could just hear the whole theater erupting conversation. Like everybody's in panic. They're in shock. They don't even know what just happened on the screen. It was insane.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
All right, number one's for you guys. I think I both know yours.
The Winter Soldier.
yeah, Winter Soldier.
Mhm.
It plays into what I said about Thor Ragnarok. It like completely redefines Captain America and everything about him. It was just
Yeah.
so cool, like the spy aspects.
Yeah,
It like took you a little away from like the whole connected universe for a little bit too, and like it really played into the Shield stuff.
yeah.
And then the suit was cool.
Yes,
The suit
that's
was
his
pretty cool.
stealth suit. Yeah, his shield stealth suit. That's amazing, and they bring it back in Endgame. That's the suit he wears at the beginning, and I was so hyped for that. In my opinion, there is not a bad scene or wasted scene in this entire movie. I like every single part that happens in this movie and everything that they do for the movie, start to finish. I just really like it. And also, so like you said, it really reinvigorated the character because the first Avenger was a good movie, but it's a period piece. It's set during World War II. It's kind of hokey, but it's kind of cool. Avengers, yeah, Avengers did not do Captain America justice, and then this movie made him pretty much one of my favorite Marvel characters going
It's
forward.
like how like him and Thor are now like some of my favorite Marvel characters just because of those movies.
Yeah, these two movies. Yeah.
And after like Captain America, I went into it like this is gonna be really good because I really liked the first Adventure, but like I
Yeah.
didn't think it was gonna be anything crazy like Adventures.
Yeah.
Then when I walked out of it, I was like, oh my gosh! Like
Yeah.
I remember getting home and just wanting to like pretend to be Captain America too.
Facts. Still have those
I
3D
think
glasses.
Yeah,
yeah.
the
An
fight scenes are
underrated
so
part of that
good.
movie, I think, is the way they did Nick Fury in that movie. When
Yeah.
he's in the car chase scene with all the Hydra agents, and then he's like interrupted by the Winter Soldier, and then escapes the Winter Soldier, I think was awesome. And then how he kind of like he comes back towards the end and helps, and I just think the Nick Fury overall is a really good character, and I think Samuel L. Jackson portrays him really well.
And that was the last big Fury movie too.
I'm not gonna lie, I
Yeah.
forgot Nick Fury was in Captain Marvel for a minute. Even though
Yeah.
that was like my favorite part of the movie was him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of bad, but
And Coulson's in that movie too.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah, Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what people though forget though about Winter Soldier is all like the original Hydra stuff that relates to the past.
Yeah, that's true. I also they probably have my best or their best fight scenes and action scenes and set pieces in that movie. That highway fight where
Yeah,
it's just hand to hand like Captain America versus Winter Soldier, that's so cool every single time.
probably
The elevator
it's-
fight
Yeah.
is so
The
good.
1v1 with Captain America and Winter Soldier is probably the best 1v1 in the entire MCU.
Yeah.
The way that they coordinated that was just so good. Like I could watch that scene over and over. And I saw a clip on Instagram once, and it was like Winter Soldier like flips the knife out of his one hand and brings it around to his other hand. I was like, how's that humanly possible?
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
It's like
And
a lot of
even
Marvel movies, you get bored of the fight scenes if you rewatch them too many times. But like this one, just always makes you want to watch.
yeah. And even the at the beginning when they take the boat, like that just completely changed the character for me because I was like, okay, Captain America's a soldier, he has a cool shield, he's a decent fighter. But this one, he was like a super spy and a super soldier, just going around taking every single person out on that boat. I was like, this is awesome.
And I like the part where like they ask if he took a parachute, and they're like, no, he did not.
Classic.
It's just like a perfect way of like
That part's cool.
adding into things like that they built up for him.
Yeah.
Like it's just a good build up and then like stuff that they did. I lost the word. That was the problem. Payoff, I guess. Payoff.
Okay. Well, those are our lists for today. Sam, yours is kind of sketch, I'm not going to lie.
Sam's is definitely the most out there compared to ours.
Well, I think the thing is, you guys were really sold on the Winter Soldier. And
Yeah, that defined the rest of the list.
Yeah, I think that was it.
You just shuffled your Infinity War and stuff.
Yeah, I think because Endgame and Infinity War were a little lower for you, and Winter Soldier was a little lower for me. But they're all great movies. You can't go wrong for either of them.
The thing is, all the top 3 movies were at number 1 at one point, and then it's just letting them set.
Yeah. And I'm sure if we rewatch the movies again, we would have a different list over again. Like, cause they're all just so good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Because I haven't seen Guardians in a while. I think that one might break out Doctor Strange for my top 5.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Guardians. And I didn't even think about Black Panther either. Like those 2 movies kind of just slipped from my brain. So who even knows?
Yeah.
How my list would change from next time.
It's just Black Panther is one of those that's really good, but it just never breaks the top 5 for me.
Yeah.
I just don't know what it is that doesn't do it. I think it's probably just because it's an origin. It's harder.
That's true.
But I guess I did put Guardians there. I don't know. Mine was just more based on what you can rewatch over and over again, and like the experience you had with it is why.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So that wraps this podcast topic off.
All right. Well, this was fun.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Have a good one, listeners out there.
Oh, I don't like sucks endings.
Dang. Say something better, Joe.
No. We'll end it that way.
Fine.
I guess we never really did.
Thank you for watching the first ever Sleepless in Metropolis podcast. I am Joey, and my other co-host would like to thank you for watching. We'll have 2 videos up every week, and we can also be found on Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So follow us there, and see you next time.